So any clarification in this topic, what is governance means until now? So governance, we know that it's a decision making regarding socio-economic development, correct? Okay, measures of governance. Second point, political stability. That was the thing we finished off, correct? Okay, I'll just go for a quick recap. Someone asked. So what is governance is? Ultimately, that results to decision making in a society, especially for public welfare. So that is called governance. In that we have authority, tradition, and institutions playing a major role in it. And next we saw the features of governance, government and beyond. Beyond means, please understand, it includes market and civil society organization. Civil society organization means, just for understanding, NGO. Market means business. So power dependence between institutions, all these three players need to work in tandem. Government, civil society and market, then only we can achieve development. So that's the second point. Third one is blurring of boundaries. Right now we can see most of the critical areas private sectors are entering, like energy security or railways. We can see private players are entering, correct? Autonomous self-governing networks, we saw about regulators. And use of new tools and techniques, that's nothing but regarding e-governance. Because these are things what we finished off in the last class. So is audio video okay for you? Audio video okay for you? Someone is saying that, okay, thank you. Okay. So please. Okay, lagging. Thambi par connectivity. Okay, I'll just ask people to check here. Just wait a minute. We'll check it here. Okay, we have a network issue here. We just cut the call and connect it back. Just wait a minute.
You are in the meeting now.
Connect Aisha. Huh? Is the audio video clear for you, for everyone? Okay. So right now in that we go for the second one, absence of violence. What is absence of violence is? We can split that into two aspects. One is external threats. One is external threats. So when you say external threats means, can anyone list out what are the biggest external threats right now we have for India? External threats. There are three major external threats. Can you identify those three? Terrorism is one. Apart from terrorism, Pakistan, war is a thing, right? Okay, there are three major one. One is Pakistan is a threat for us, is a state actor. China is another one. And finally, terrorism. So when you say terrorism means, please keep in mind which country we always relate with terrorism is. So with which country we always relate with terrorism is? We always think terrorism means Pakistan, correct? But reality is Afghanistan is the major factor in terrorism for India. Because Taliban is there in Afghanistan. If there is any chance of Taliban dominating Afghanistan, biggest impact will be for India. So Afghanistan is another major aspect we need to focus on. So there are three countries. One is Pakistan, China, state actors. Non-state actors in Afghanistan. That is Taliban. Okay. That's the external threat. Next thing is Internal threat, correct? So when you say internal threat, again there are three major dimensions for it, correct? What are three major dimensions of internal threat? So one is insurgency, that's correct, insurgency. Next thing is Maoism. And third one is terrorism. So these are three major problems for India internally. So when you take this insurgency, so which part of India we can relate with insurgency? So northeastern states we always relate with insurgency. Okay, Maoism means red corridor states. And terrorism means which are the states in India is known for terrorism. So there are two states known for terrorism. So one is Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. So these two are known for terrorism. So insurgency, northeastern states, Maoism, red corridor states, or mostly you can relate with central India, correct? My question is, what is the difference between insurgency and Maoism? So what is the difference between insurgency and Maoism? Any idea? This can be an interview question. Can anyone say what is the difference between Maoism and insurgency? So insurgency needs separate nation. That's correct. Okay. So what is the important aspect of different insurgency? Correct. They always need a separate country or at the maximum autonomy. That is what in northeastern states happens. So what is the aspect of Maoism? Any idea? And please understand, Maoism doesn't have an objective to have a separate country. Maoism want to change the political system. Can you understand the point? That's a major difference. Maoism want to change the political system from democracy, they want to have communism. Whereas insurgency, they want a separate country. Keep that in mind. Don't interchange these words. It's wrong. Never ever say that in northeastern states we have Maoism. It's wrong. Because northeastern states ultimately focus on independence. They want to move out of India. Okay. So, how this is personally related to you? External threat, internal threat. How this is personally related to you? Right now you're preparing for civil service. How this is personally related to you? Additional posting. Apart from additional posting, any other thing which is personally related to you? All this external threats, internal threats. What information you can relate with this? Yeah. Daily routine. I'm asking, you are preparing for civil services, correct? With this information, what you can gain in civil service preparations. Very personal to you. So another way of saying this is correct. Not only current affairs, you know cadres. Cadre. Cadre is nothing but which state you want to work, correct? And if you go and check in this aspect, which are the safest states for you? Which are the safest states for you? Out of all these things, correct? Which are the safest states? Southern states are very safe, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Okay. Some parts of Karnataka, Maharashtra, some parts, correct? Gujarat, some parts. What about the rest of India? Rest of India is very dangerous to you, correct? So take example Arunachal Pradesh. What is the biggest threat in Arunachal Pradesh? So Chinese factor, correct? So right now we can see that in Ladakh crisis, there was a standoff between Indian army and Chinese army. Assume that China want to attack India. What the first location they come inside is? Not only administrative. What the first state they'll come and try to attack us? Arunachal Pradesh, correct? Assume that you are an IPS officer in Arunachal Pradesh. You will be the first target because you are wearing a uniform, having a cap. Okay. And next thing is, if you take Chhattisgarh or Orissa, what is the biggest problem? Anyone gone through the recent news article? There was a bomb blast in, I think, Odisha or Chhattisgarh, killing around 15 people, police personals, done by Maoists, correct? So all this you can relate it, correct? Naxal attack in Odisha. So what determines your cadres? What determines your cadre? Rank. Rank means how you determine the rank. Mark. Which mark is the most important thing? Mains and interview, correct? And this happened to a friend. In his first attempt, he got into IPS. And he was posted in West Bengal. And you know, in police services, first district will always be trouble district. What is trouble district is? Most complex districts to understand what is police administration means. And he was posted in Maoist affected areas. And one day they were conducting an operation which went bad. Luckily, there is no loss of life. Police team got split into two. So one, our friend along with the constable. Another thing is rest of police team. And he called up the control room and said that please come and rescue us. For that, what the police control room said is, please wait there for a few hours, sir, because Maoism presence is there. We'll check it. Based on that, we come and rescue. But I actually take 24 hours to rescue them. And we asked what you are thinking during the time. And he said that I was thinking my mains examination. And we asked why you are thinking about your mains examination. Okay. So to understand that mains examination perspective is, he said that in GS, he left 3 questions. Reason for leaving the 3 questions is hand pain. He thought that my hand is paining a lot. Why I want to write the 3 questions. He left it. My question is, assume that it's 10 mark. What a best mark UPSC gives for you? Best mark, if you have written the best answer, what the mark UPSC gives for you? 5 to 6, we assume 5 marks, correct? Worst mark is worst mark. If you are writing some manageable answers, what will be the mark they'll give us? 2 or 3, for example, 3. So what our friend says is, I left 3 questions, I know the answer. Best mark is 5 marks, the least mark is 3 marks. He says that, okay, even if I take 3 marks, I lost 9 marks. Other extreme is, I lost 15 marks. Can anyone say what is the rank difference for this marks? 9 marks means what is the rank difference? 100 rank difference, correct? And he said that if I got the 9 mark, I'll be in IPS, but not in West Bengal. If I got the 15 mark, I'll not be in IPS, I'll be in IAS. And the reason why he left the 3 questions is hand pain, correct? And he said that, okay, it is not the best way of leading a life because Maoism pressures are on that. Next year, he came and wrote the examination and he got into foreign service. Okay, foreign services, he landed in Egypt. When you say Egypt means that was the year of 2008-9, correct? So Arab Spring was happening there, correct? Again, trouble in Egypt. And he said that it's a bad experience in my life. I thought police service is worst and landed in foreign service. Even foreign service is very tough. Because in Egypt, you know this Arab Spring, where government was thrown out, all this was happening, correct? So what's the bottom line is, always keep in mind, getting the marks determines your fate, correct? Having a family in Tamil Nadu, as an IAS, IPS, having a family in Arunachal Pradesh, what is the difference? It's your fate. IAS, IPS, you need to work in any part of India. But your life partner and son and daughters need to be along with you, correct? What is the difference here? Tamil Nadu and Arunachal Pradesh. Please understand, in Tamil Nadu, what are the things you are experiencing? We take it for granted. What is take it for granted? Road network, public services, hospitals. Never we think that, okay, we need to face any challenges. For example, if you want to go to hospitals, we can see it very easily, correct? And we have friends in northeastern states who says that for reaching the state capital, we have a friend in Mussooram, posted as a district collector in a border district. He says that to reach the state capital, he need to travel 12 hours. From that, he need to come to Tamil Nadu again. Can you understand the point? So keep that in mind. 10 marks determines your fate. Not only you, your fate, your family members' fate also, correct? So you can move around. But what will happen to your life partners after a point of time? They get irritated, correct? Okay, no, okay, okay. You can't think like that. Ultimately, what happens is the life partner will call up the father and say that, correct? Anneke sunna indalala vandana, correct? Okay. Or your life partner calls up the parents and in-laws and say that, okay, it's not working. He's traveling like anything, correct? So keep that in mind. So these are the measures: political stability and absence of violence, external threat and internal threat. The next thing is read out. Effectiveness of the government. Effectiveness of the government. That is effectiveness of the government. That is ability of the government to reach the goals. Ability of the government to reach the goals. So ability of the government to reach the goals. My basic question is that in India government is effective? Is in India government is effective? We say yes, correct. We can check the facts. How many 5-year plans we finished off in India? We don't have 5-year plans. How many 5-year plans we finished off? 12 5-year plans. Can anyone say in these 12 5-year plans, how many 5-year plans we are able to reach the target? Every 5-year plan we have a target, correct? How many 5-year plans we are able to reach the target? 6 means India will be a developed country. Please understand, only 2 5-year plans we are able to reach the target. Remaining 10 5-year plans we miss the target. Another good example of effectiveness is that when we got our independence, India was the first country in the world to think that population will be the biggest threat to India. They want to control population, correct? They have a plan for it. Family planning or something. 2021, what happened to India regarding population? We are less populated or highly populated? We are highly populated. Can anyone say when we are going to surpass China in population? When we are going to surpass China in population? Any idea? Not 2030. Please understand, by 2025, 26, we are going to surpass China in population. Not another 20 years, correct? Another 3 to 4 years, we are going to beat China. One area's population, correct? So India's population is very high. And we know that where government failed in that program. So effectiveness of the government recently has improved. But if you take last 50, 60 years, it's worst in India, effectiveness of the government. Okay. Next thing is regulatory burden. So when you say regulatory burden, recently we have this labor codes. Anyone came through in newspapers? Labor code or labor laws. Recently this was highly regulated sector, labor laws. It being changed recently. So regulatory burden, you can give the example of labor laws, but it's being changed right now. We got around 250 laws in India regarding labor. It was changed into 4 codes, labor codes. So regulatory burden is another biggest indicator. And rule of law, when you say rule of law, you can relate with Article 14 of Indian Constitution. What is Article 14 is? Right to equality. That is rule of law. No one is above the law. And corruption. So these are the 6 indicators for measuring governance. My question is, out of the 6 indicators, what are things positive for India? What are positive things for India? There are 3 parameters is positive for India. Voice and accountability, that is one, correct? Please understand, voice and accountability, political stability and absence of violence. We can recently see that India has done very good in these areas, correct? For example, absence of violence, Maoism is controlled a lot. And China, Pakistan, is that how we are doing with China, Pakistan? Why? Can anyone say why Pakistan is ready to shake hands with India? Why they want to do it? Why Pakistan military chief itself says that we are ready to work with India? Can you say why? One of the major factors, please understand, Pakistan economy is worst right now. Can you understand the point? If there is any chance of war with India, it will not happen. Any chance of war with India, Pakistan will be nothing. And they all know it. And they are saying that we need to work with India. Because without that, they can't survive. So they are having a shaking hands with India, correct? What about China? China recently Ladakh crisis, correct? Okay, how many soldiers we lost there? 25 soldiers, correct? And how many soldiers Chinese lost? Their official claim is 4, but how many soldiers they lost is? Around, there are different numbers. For example, US says 35, Russian says 45, India says 60. So all these are happening in China, correct? So we have a very good reply for Chinese also. So security has improved a lot in India. The next thing is rule of law is always good in India. Article 14, correct? Rule of law. No one is above the law. That we can see that even politicians are being arrested. Okay. So these are some of the measures of governance. Okay. Next we go for the term called good governance. This is not required, just leave it. Next thing is good governance. What is good governance means? Keep in mind, values plus structures. This we call it as good governance. Just write it down, I'll explain it. Good governance, definition is given by UNDP, United Nations Development Program. Okay, I'm seeing your answers. Just put it. Okay, write down what is this good governance means. So once you finished, say, is that you finished? Okay. So what is good governance means? Okay, I said values plus structures. My question is, so can you say in a democracy, what are important structures of democracy? There are four important structures. What are four important structures? One is parliament, legislature. Then, what are other important structures of democracy? One is parliament. Then, judiciary is one, correct? Judiciary is one. Then, apart from this, executive is one, and media. So these are four structures. One is parliament, legislature, executive, media, and judiciary. We'll take judiciary. What a problem in Indian judiciary right now? Anyone have an idea? So nepotism. Okay, nepotism. In what areas judiciary is being highly questioned in India? It's not favoring executives. Apart from favoring executive, there is one process in judiciary highly questioned in India. Media questions that, government questions that. Especially you can see that collegium aspects, correct? Appointment of judges. What is the biggest problem in appointment of judges in India? What is missing there in appointment of judges? And collegium is there, correct? Chief Justice of India and four senior most judges. If we ask them why you recommend the name, what be the reply of this collegium is? They say judicial merit and seniority. But government found out that few judges are incapable, few judges are highly corrupt, they have some issues against them. But as collegium gives the recommendation, government need to accept it. What is missing in judicial appointment is what we called as accountability and transparency, correct? To understand this, a good example is what allegation? I didn't read it.
When Andhra Pradesh government announced they are going to make Amravati as a capital, his family members and him got some land and he is influencing the High Court decisions of Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
This was the allegation sent by a letter by Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, but later it got neglected. They formed a committee, but there is no transparency.
So a recent example, one of our friends saying that the recommended name for Chief Justice of India, Ramanan, who belongs to Andhra Pradesh, this capital Amaravati was being created. Right now it's being taken out and has change of government. He's influencing Andhra Pradesh government, Andhra Pradesh High Court to give the judgments, correct? This you can see that how they are being influencing the system. Another good example is, can anyone say who was the recent Rajya Sabha MP from judiciary? So Rajya Sabha MP from judiciary, anyone have an idea? You know this Ranjan Gogoi? He's a Rajya Sabha MP, correct? What was the allegation against him? Any idea? There was sexual harassment against him. And no one questioned him, correct? Judiciary formed their own committee to check there's an allegation. Once we form the committee, we know what the results is. Once they formed the committee, finally they inquired and said that there is no such allegation. But there was one employee saying that she was sexually harassed by the Chief Justice, correct? So what is missing in judiciary is accountability and transparency. What you need to understand here is creating structure is not enough for development. Along with structure, what is the most important thing is value systems. We'll see what are those value systems, correct? That is defined here. We see one of the other values. So that is the first value, participation. That's correct. He himself became the judge of that case, correct? That's correct. Okay, we know what be the outcome is, correct? You do the crime and you will judge that crime means what happens. So write down the values. So once you finish off, put yes. Online candidates, once you finish off, put yes. Okay. So I assume that you're all finished online. So first we'll start with participation. The very basic question is, in development process, whose participation is important? Please understand, people participation is the most important thing. In people participation, they need to play an active role in decision making. So they need to play an active role in decision making. What is the example for this is, we'll take Gram Sabha. So can anyone say what is Gram Sabha means? So what the term Gram Sabha means? That is, Gram Sabha is in a village level, all eligible voters comes under Gram Sabha. So we need to integrate with MG Narega. So what is MG Narega's primary focus is? So what is MG Narega's primary focus is? That's regarding rural employment. Unskilled labor, government will pay the money, 100 days labor. My basic question is, under this 100 days labor, in village, what type of work they are doing? Construction. Apart from construction, what other type of works they are doing is? Infrastructure. They focus more on rural infrastructures. My question is, right now if there's a village in Rajasthan, what infrastructure they'll create? Logical one. Rajasthan is a dry area, what infrastructure they create is? For example, they focus on check dams because they want to conserve water. Please understand that all decided by Gram Sabha. Can you understand the point? Under MG Narega, government gives 100 days labor and give the salary. What type of work they need to do is decided by Gram Sabha. So people are involved in decision making. Can you understand the point? That's called participation. Okay. I think you're able to understand the point here, what is participation means. That's correct. Water bunds, irrigation development, canal construction, check dams, water conservation, water harvesting systems. That's correct. Okay. So that is participation. Next thing is accountability. Next thing is accountability. Accountability means, right now, answerability for public actions. Accountability means answerability for public actions. So right now in civil service preparation, to whom you are answerable? Parents. Then apart from parents, girlfriend, boyfriend. Okay, then please understand, you are answerable to yourself. That's the first thing, correct? Then only comes the parents. If you are sitting and studying, you should ask yourself whether I am studying or not. Then comes the parents, then comes the girlfriend, boyfriend. And apart from this, last one is the fourth person in our life, correct? Or 4 per. There will be some 4 person in our life, correct? They'll determine the fate of us, correct? When we can see this 4 person in your life is? When you can see this 4 person is, once you get the results, you can see this 4 person. Assume that this year you got into All India rank 5, Tamil Nadu IAS, correct? What this 4 person will do is, they call up and say that, can you remember in your UKG I have seen you. You need to say, yes uncle, I'm able to remember you, correct? And he says to others, I seeing the face itself, I know this is an IAS guy, correct? Okay. Moonji paathe sollirven, correct? So, okay. The next thing is, assume that opposite. You write this examination, you miss the opportunity, correct? What this person will say is, they will not say all these things. So what the next thing they do is, they use the same dialogue, only modulation is different, correct? I know, the phrase itself I know, correct? Correct? So accountability, please understand, first you are accountable to yourself, then your family members, that's your father and mother, then comes your, if you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, correct? And please understand, this girlfriend, boyfriend, first year is not a problem, correct? When you say that I'm preparing for second year, third year, what will be the comment they'll say is, I don't know what will happen to me. You are very much interested in Lakshmikant article 19, 20, 21, correct? I don't know what might happen to my life, correct? So, So all these are factors. So accountability is one, correct? Next thing is consensus oriented. So next thing is consensus oriented. What this consensus oriented means? Okay, assume that you are designing agriculture policy. So can anyone say who are the people who contact for agriculture policy? If you want to design a good agriculture policy, who are the people you contact? Okay, very basic question. You are the secretary for Ministry of Agriculture, correct? First one is farmers. You contact the farmers. Then apart from farmers, farmers is one category. Who are the other ones you contact for agriculture policy? Banks. Next thing is you go for NABARD. You contact with NABARD. Agriculture department is okay. NABARD, agriculture department. Then any other thing, who are the other ones you contact us? Next we go for agri-scientist, correct? And another thing is customers. So right now in India, which product sells a lot in agriculture sector? If you add that name in front of it, you can give the premium prices. What are that product? What is the name you need to add is? Right now if you go and say the vegetables, okay, you need to put only the term organic. So consumer preference, you need to know it. And finally next one is WTO and FAO, correct? There's a potential for exports in agriculture, you need to contact them, WTO and FAO, correct? So ultimately what you can understand is for designing agriculture policy, you need to contact from farmers to WTO. What is consensus oriented means, right? In decision making, taking into consideration, of various stakeholders, Here stakeholders means, keep in mind, right from farmers to WTO. Taking into consideration of various interest of various stakeholders in decision making. So ultimately what you want to do in consensus oriented is taking into consideration of all the stakeholders' interests. That's the primary one, correct? Very basic understanding of this consensus is why there's a farmer protest in India. Why farmers protest are there in India? New laws are being created for farming, correct? Why there's a protest? Why farmers are protesting? Without the knowledge, primary problem is farmers are not consulted regarding this MSP, correct? What farmers' requirement is, they want to have this minimum support prices. But in this law, there is no such thing. Can you understand the point? So consensus is lacking here. Okay. So consensus oriented. Next one is transparency. Transparency. That's correct. There is no proper consultation with farmers. Okay. So they are feared of exploiting by corporates, correct? Participatory democracy. Okay. No consensus. Okay. Next thing is transparency. What is the English term transparency means? What is English term transparent? Visible. Okay. What is transparency is, to share public informations. So clear vision, open, okay. To share public informations. That's called transparency. Right now in India we have this RTI Act. I think you're able to relate with this RTI Act 2005. So that is related to transparency. Next one is responsiveness. So to understand responsiveness, how many of you got a chance of visiting police stations? Okay, passport leave out. Not for passport. Any other reasons apart from this? For what reason? So for what reason you visited passport? Okay. Mobile theft is one. Okay, then? Triples, okay. Helmet, okay. Yeah. Traffic violation, leave out. Traffic violation apart from this. You are on the wrong side, that's not a problem. Mark sheet missing is one, okay. Then apart from this, parent document, okay. Getting permission for public events, computer theft, that's the most important thing, correct? Dad is working great, okay. Not wearing a mask. When my friend ran with your one girl, okay, why you are being get caught? Okay, probably he'll be making the last call to you. Okay, that is the reason. Police track the mobile number. You are the last person being called. Okay, license revolver. Okay, ID card missing. What's my intention of asking a question is, for example, you lost your mobile phones or your computer. Once you go for police station, what happens there? Is that they register the complaint, file an FIR. For example, you lost your two-wheeler. If they file an FIR, okay, please understand why you lost your two-wheeler, why filing an FIR is mandatory. One is to claim insurance. Apart from this, another most important thing to file an FIR during loss of two-wheelers is, please understand, most of the time the theft vehicles are used for antisocial activities. For example, robbery or murder, they use it. So you need to file an FIR. But once you go for police station, what happens there? First and foremost thing is, they'll never bother you. Even if you stand there, they never ask why you are standing here, correct? First they'll ask what is the issue. You say that the mobile phone is lost or my two-wheeler is lost. And sometimes what happens, you say that you lost your two-wheeler. They go to extend that why you think that why I visited police station, correct? They say that you are grown up, you don't know how to keep your two-wheeler. Even the extreme, they go and say that how you are going to get married. Okay, you literally get confused that what is the relationship between loss of two-wheeler and marriage, correct? So for one person, they have given iPhone instead of Samsung. Okay, it's very great. So the point is, the responsiveness is very vast. Even take a bank system. HDFC Bank and Indian Overseas Bank. Where will be the responsiveness very good? Once you go inside, they will receive. HDFC, correct? Even take a opening of bank account. HDFC online, you open a bank account, correct? What about Indian Overseas Bank or Canara Bank or any government bank? Okay, please understand, it takes 1 week. Monday you go, they give the application and say that come next day. Once you go for next day, we are busy, come on third day. Once you go for third day, they see the application, make some changes. Fourth day you go means they say that it's a weekend, come next week. Okay, we are very busy. Ultimately, you get irritated why you want to open a bank account, correct? Okay, private bank, okay. So it took me 2 months during a peak corona period. That's correct, correct? I don't know what is responsiveness means. To provide public services, as and when demanded by citizens. So responsiveness means to provide public services as and when demanded. For that only right now what government is trying to do is, they know that the public servants will not work. So what the next thing government is trying to do is, if you want to improve the responsiveness of public service, what government is doing is, not in complaint box. Right now you know that government is using e-governance, correct? So ultimately what happens, you can enjoy the public services as and when needed. You doesn't need to depend upon any government officials. For example, booking your train ticket. Okay, mark sheets, all these things are. Online mode is nothing but to increase the responsiveness. Okay. So 2 years after computer theft, no FIR, even producing the CCTV videos, treating the person as criminal. Okay, that's the point. Okay, it happens in all police stations. I'm not saying everyone is like that. Okay. So most of the police stations are similar to that. Correct? And next one is effectiveness. And effectiveness, we already saw that ability to reach the goals. And recently we can see some government programs are very successful and effective. One such thing is MG Narega and Swachh Bharat is a good example for it. Recently you can see that. The next thing is efficiency. So what is the college term of efficiency? In college days, what is efficiency? I think most of you are engineering, correct? So in college days, what is efficiency means? No. Okay. So what is efficiency in college days is? Not attending classes. I'm saying some formula is there for efficiency. What is the efficiency formula? Anyone able to remember it? That is output by input, correct? Output by input, what's called efficiency, correct? What is efficiency here means? Write down optimum use of resources. Efficiency means optimum use of resources. The next thing is equitableness. So there are two terms in public services. One is equity versus equality. Can anyone say what is equality means? All are equal. What is equity means? Fair distribution. Any other thing where you can relate with equity? Fair. Okay. What does equity means? Proportional. That's correct. Okay. Reservation is example. Okay. Share. Those needs should be given importance. Okay. I don't know what is equity means. Equity means, I don't. To provide democratic benefits, treat equal as equal and treat unequal as unequal. Okay. Okay. To provide democratic benefits by understanding. Provide democratic benefits by understanding historical disadvantages. By understanding historical disadvantages. Right now in India, what are the biggest historical disadvantages? For thousands of years, we are doing something which is against the people, correct? Caste system, correct? So caste is the biggest historical disadvantages. Okay. So equitableness means in good governance, you are taking care of the historical disadvantage and giving the benefits. Okay. Example is reservation. Next thing is inclusiveness. Before going for inclusiveness, first we need to know what is disadvantage section means. So can anyone say what is disadvantage section means? So anyone have an idea what is disadvantage section means? In a society, who are called disadvantage sections? Those are being exploited by social factors. Any other interpretation of the term disadvantage sections? So I'll repeat the equitableness. Okay, what does equitableness means? To provide democratic benefits by understanding. Provide democratic benefits by understanding historical disadvantages. Historical disadvantages. Who is disadvantage section means? Write down. Disadvantage section means section of population. Section of population lack. Section of population lack opportunities. Section of population lacks opportunities in social, economic, political, technology space. Section of population lack opportunities in social, economic, political and technological space, correct? And who are the good example of disadvantaged people? SC/ST is one. Apart from SC/STs, minorities, rural people. Then apart from this, in India, who are all disadvantaged people? SC/STs, women. Women is there, correct? Children are there, correct? So tribals are there. Okay, disabled is there. Simple way of saying is, in India, except male, everyone is disadvantaged. You can put everyone there. Okay, transgenders is disadvantaged, correct? And for them, we have the term called inclusiveness. Inclusiveness can be divided into three. One is political inclusiveness. Political inclusiveness. Next thing is economic inclusiveness. And social inclusiveness. Political, economic and social inclusiveness. So what is this political inclusiveness means? Right now we have reservation as a good example for it. For example, in political level, reservation is given for whom? Political level. SC/ST, women. In local government, we have women, correct? But in MP level, MLA level, we don't have it. But in local government, we have it. There's reservation? Where? Women reservation is not there. SC/ST reservation is there. But for women, there is no reservation. Okay. And next thing is economic inclusiveness. When you take economic inclusiveness, you can give the example of BIM app, So BIM app is there a good example of economic inclusiveness. Having a mobile phone, you can enjoy the banking services, economic inclusiveness. Social inclusiveness programs. We have a lot of programs in India for social inclusiveness. Especially you can see program for women, children, pregnant women, correct? Old age, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, or few examples. Okay. My question is UPSC is also focusing on inclusiveness? Yes or no? Yes, correct. How we can say that UPSC is focusing on inclusiveness? Reservation is one. Okay, what about women and UPSC? So right now, right from writing the examination, there is no fees for women, correct? And is that you know that in UPSC, it's unwritten well. Okay, most of the people are saying, okay, Kerala election for first time transgender participation. Okay, that's correct. So they say that it's unwritten rule. In UPSC, what they say is when you go for interview stages, the primary requirement is same type of performance. Both male and women candidate, same level of performance. There's a greater chance for women to get extra 2 to 3 marks. If it is a married woman, 4 to 5 marks. So can I say why this difference is? So why for married women they're giving extra 4 to 5 marks with the same level of performance? That's the most important thing, correct? So basic, if you are in UPSC interview board, why you think that if a married woman is giving a good performance in interview, why you want to give extra 4 marks? Please understand, in Indian culture, once you say marriages means, who is with high level of responsibility in marriages? Always women, correct? So ultimately what it clearly shows here? What clearly shows here? It's not path. Very practical aspect what it clearly shows there. Okay, married women running a family, preparing for examination, what we can clearly understand here. So it's nothing but it shows her management skills, correct? She's able to run the family and able to study and reach to the interview level, correct? So married women getting extra 4 to 5 marks, correct? Can the same thing claimed by a male? Can a male candidate go and say that I'm also married, give extra 4 marks, correct? Okay, can a male can claim like that? Okay. Please understand, marriage is not a factor in UPSC, but advantages are there. Even if you are a married male, that's not an issue. Sometimes it also work in your advantage. So this happened to a friend. So today's topic is, you join late. Today's topic is we are going for good governance. Okay. Just I'm saying what's the topic name is. Okay. Point is, one of our friend was a married guy who got for interview. And you know that in a DAF application form, there's a section called hobbies, correct? Is that you know it? When you're writing mains examination, there's a section called hobbies, you need to fill it. As most of Indians, we don't have hobbies, correct? So what we always do is, what hobbies we always try to put is, as most of Indians, we don't have any hobbies and all, what we try to put is, playing cricket, apart from this, reading books, okay, hearing music, correct? Sometimes we are the smartest one. UPSC board does not need to ask any questions. What you put is watching Tamil movie, okay, listening Tamil music, correct? We want to make sure that they should not ask any questions, correct? So what happened is, what are the standard hobbies is, one is watching movies, playing cricket, what are the standard hobbies? As most of Indians, we don't have it. So what we always try to put is gardening, correct? So one of our friend, what he did is, he put cooking. Okay, he knows to cook. Suddenly one of the friend, while he was filling the DAF, he doesn't know what to do as a hobby. He said, you know to cook, you put, we'll prepare. He just put cooking and prepared well and went for the interview. After 15 minutes, a member saw his hobby and asked, okay, what do you cook? He said, these are the items I'll cook. The next thing is, how do you cook? He said, these are the procedure, I do it. The next question is, when do you cook? And he said that, okay. When he said that, sir, when my wife is not there, I'll cook. Both got impressed. Great. Women equality, women empowerment, you are giving respect for your wife, you are helping her. He saw the energy of the board, right? And even the board asked, even after civil service, you cook? Yes, sir. first service kudunga, correct? Okay, he was in that mind, okay, if I get the service, I'll do it, sir. It's a pleasure. I'll help her a lot, correct? And he said that may be an answer which impressed the board. A lot of other things he said will also. He said that may be an answer also, one of the answers. Then we asked why you do cook, why you cook, correct? And what the reply he said is, I want a good food, correct? So what you can understand here. You can't say this answer to the board, correct? So sometimes marriage also works in your favor. Okay. So next thing is rule of law, which we already saw. That is Article 14 is a rule of law. So these are some of the values of good governance. Article 14, rule of law. So these are some good governance values. Okay. Next thing is attributes of good governance. Right on the first point, I'll explain it. Attributes are characters. The disadvantage also can be called as weaker section. That's correct. Social aspects you can relate with programs and policies. Social aspects, programs and policies. So attributes of good governance, right on the first point. First one is right sizing governmental functions, right on. To identify right sizing governmental functions. To identify governmental functions. To identify governmental functions as strategic. Identify governmental function as strategic, commercial functions. Next. Government, next point. Government should be responsible. Government should be responsible for strategic functions. Very basic question is, can anyone say which activities of the government cannot be given to private players? Okay, defense you cannot give it. Any other examples? Which are the areas you can't give it to any private players? It should be done only by the government. Finance is okay. Then finance is done by private players. We have private banks. Regulating finance is one, correct. For example, defense is one. Law and order. For example, assume police. Can it be run by a private player? Adani running a police station. Or Ambani running a police station. What will happen? Literally you know what, correct? Similarly, election. Can we give it to any private place? Literally no. So strategic functions need to be taken care only by the government. So that's the right sizing governmental functions. Okay. So land administration. Okay, flop in US prisons. That's correct. That's correct. Nuclear sector. So private policing is rising. Correct. That's correct. Moral policing is there. That's another thing. So railways too. Okay. And there was one bad example in the world for this privatizing the strategic functions. You know that when US invaded Iraq, they privatized the military services. That was done by a company called Blackwater. And that was started by former Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs are considered to be the elite force in the world. They belong to US. Former Navy SEALs came out of US Army and started this company called Blackwaters. Actually, after a few years, that company was working for the enemy of US. Who is the enemy of US? Russia is one. Okay, Taliban, okay. Apart from Taliban, which country is the enemy of US? One is Russia, apart from Russia. China. This company was working for China in Africa. US asked the question whether you are a patriot, why you are doing like this, you are trained by US Army. What a reply given by that particular company is? Very basic one. Why they want to work for another country is? Literally they said is, we work for money, not for any national flag. Can you understand the point? So if you privatize strategic sector, there is always a problem. Similarly, jail also privatized in US once got into big trouble. Okay. So right sizing governmental function. Next thing is greater use of IT and management techniques. Second point. Here management techniques you can put PPP, public-private partnership models. Public-private partnership models, another good example. Greater use of IT and management techniques. IT we saw under e-governance. Management techniques you can put PPP, public-private partnerships. The next thing is decentralization and ethics. So decentralization and ethics. Ethics we'll see that, you just write it down. Decentralization means, any idea what is a good example of decentralization in India? What a good example of decentralization in India? Huh? You can say a point. So good example of decent, that's correct, panchayats and municipalities, or we can put that as 73rd and 74th amendment. 73rd and 74th amendment in constitution is called as decentralization. 73rd is panchayat. 74th is municipalities. What is decentralization means? Write down. To transfer authority. To transfer authority and responsibility. Responsibility to the lowest level. To transfer authority and responsibility to the lowest level in governance. In governance. The next thing is ensuring accountability, which we already saw. Ensuring accountability. Accountability means answerability for public actions, which we already saw. The next thing is, write down ensuring accountability. Next thing is institutional reforms. Please understand, institutional reforms is the major area. Can you give examples in India for last few years? What are the reforms done? Which are the sectors reforms being done in India? Major reforms in India. So industrial sector. Any major reforms in India for last 5 to 10 years? Education, LPG, banking, PSU. Good example of reforms, major one. One you can relate with tax reforms. Correct? What are new taxes introduced in India? GST is a good example, correct? Similarly, another thing is electoral reforms. Electoral reforms, correct? What is electoral reforms? Good example. EVM is already there. Last few years, what is a good example of electoral reform? Postal ballot. Apart from this, we know this electoral bonds. Electoral bonds is a good example, correct? Postal ballot is another good example. And similarly, creation of Niti Aayog. Creation of Niti Aayog. And apart from this, okay, electoral bonds, VVPAT, okay, that's correct. Apart from this, we also see that civil service reforms is also there. Civil service reform is part of institutional reforms, correct? Can you give examples of recent civil service reforms? Karma Yogi mission is one. Apart from that, any other reforms? Recent example, last 5 years, 6 years. I'm saying from civil service perspective. Karma Yogi is one, e-governance is one. I'm saying that if you are an IAS, IPS officer, what are the reforms they have done for you? Last few years. So lateral entry is one, that's great. Lateral entry is one, correct? And zonal cadre, correct? So you know this zonal cadre. What does cadre means? Cadre is. That is nothing but determining the states for all India services. They divide into zones. Can you say why they divide into zones? 5 zones. The reason is UPSC found out that most of the time candidates are not going to certain states. What are those states? Northeastern states people are not going, correct? So to avoid that, they created 5 zones, and one zone is Northeastern zone. Right now in UPSC, what you want to do is, I'll just say, right now what you want to do is, in 5 zones, you need to select each state first. First round means zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. The next thing is zone 1, second state, zone 2, second state. Next thing is zone 1, third state, zone 2, third state. Ultimately, in this 5 states, one state will be first 5 states, one state will be what state? Northeastern states, correct? So that was the reason. Another interesting aspect is that you know that What is the first training for you in Missouri? Foundation course, correct? They call it as foundation course. Is that right now in cadre allocation, this foundation course is being included? Can you say why? While allocating cadre in foundation course, the mark is being added. Why this mark is being added?
After clearing exam, most of the aspirants will be lethargic and
Lethargic, that's correct. Can anyone say what is the average age of people clearing UPSC? Average age of people clearing UPSC. It's not 25, 27 to 28. 27 is the average age. Assume that once you clear your UPSC examination, what is the next biggest thing in your life? You now think about India's development and all. Okay, what is the next thing in your biggest aspect of your life is? What the next thing you do is? Next thing is your marriage, correct? So what UPSC found, not what government found out is, people who are coming from Missouri, especially foundation courses, section of population never attend foundation course. Can you say why? Because not get married. What they are doing is, they are rewriting the examination. So they are skipping the foundation course. Can you understand the point? They directly go by the month of December to the academy. For example, if you are an IPSC, you directly go for Hyderabad. Okay. So what happened is they skip it. Even if they are coming to foundation course, what they are most interested is not enjoyment. They want to find the life partners. What we call as cadre marriages. So there are two ways of getting into cadres what you want. One is break your head, write the best examination, get the cadre what you want. Or the next thing is get into services, wait for Missouri. Once you go for Missouri, find the right person, propose to them. Ultimately what happens is, if it is being accepted, you can have your cadres. This happens in Missouri, and government felt that Missouri training is considered to be a matchmaking, not for civil servants. They literally got irritated. So what they found out is better we can have some marks for cadre also, then only they concentrate on foundation courses, correct? The problem is also with the government. Why the problem with the government is, where is the location of Missouri? Hill station, correct? What a best location to change it so people mind will be more focused on training rather than enjoying the life, correct? It should be in Rajasthan. Then only they concentrate on their training and all, correct? Okay. So even this happened to our friends and all. So when you get your results, final results, you're writing this year examination when you get the final results. By the month of May, correct? When you go for training, any idea? When you go for training? Not October, training will be in the month of August, September. So May to August, how many months are there? 3 months are there. What people will do? Any idea? Okay, one is they go and give lectures. After clearing the examination, they go for school, colleges and give the lectures there. That is one. Second thing what they do is, this is the second thing is the first one they'll do. Or the next thing they do is they create a WhatsApp group. 2021 UPSC results WhatsApp group. 700 candidates means they try to pull all the 700 candidates. Next thing what they do is they screen it. Who are all got married, they'll be taken out. Okay. Next thing is who are all committed, they'll be taken out. Then who are left alone single, they will fight for that, correct? Okay. It's all real. I'm not exaggerating. This all happens in UPSC. People are very much interested in this concept of marriage. So what government has done is they included this foundation course mark as a cadre mark. So okay, cadre allocation, correct? And if you are married, if you are committed, you lose greater opportunities. Once you get into services in Missouri, there are greater opportunities for you. All over India, people come there. Apart from this, even there are smartest guys here. What is smartest guys is, they will not find person in Missouri. Is that, in Missouri also some people will be searching you. Is that, what people searching you means, this happened to a friend, he was in Missouri. After a few months, suddenly one person came there. He was a person working there in Missouri. Suddenly came and said that, whether you're interested in marriage. He was so shocked suddenly why he's asking this question. He said that, yes, I need to plan for my marriage. After training, I'll finish off. After training, I'll going to get married. Then he said that if you are interested, we have a person. Okay. And if you say yes, we can find the match. And he can't understand how you know that I'm interested in marriage. We checked you. Okay. You are single and all those things. We know what. And We have people in Delhi who are secretaries. They are ready to marry the daughters to you. They are ready to marry a daughter to you. Is it okay for you? These are smartest guys. Straight away go to the power center, Delhi, correct? So this all happens there. So it's all depends upon your fate. If everything goes in right directions, you'll be in the power center. Okay. So I'm just saying this. Okay. Don't keep that as a motivation for writing civil services, correct? Okay. So institutional reforms, you can include tax, electoral, Niti Aayog, civil service reforms. A lot of reforms are happening in the educational reforms. Okay. All this you can relate. Banking reforms, you can relate it. Okay. So right now is 6:30. Okay, take 5 minutes break. We can start the session. Okay. Okay, take a break for 5 minutes, online candidates, and we can start the session. So regarding videos of the classes, I'll just intimate the admin, especially for optional public administration. I'll let you know. So you have raised a concern that videos are not there. I'll try to work on it. So what the story I'm saying here was one of our friends' story regarding what I said is Delhi people will be coming for approaching you for marriage. This happened to a friend as an IFS. He got a Facebook message that you're good looking. And he thought that some of his friends was playing with him. And actually it was found out that a girl from Delhi was putting a message to him. because she got some of her friends in Missouri. Via that, she came to know it, and she was a daughter of some secretary in Ministry of Agriculture something. And she said that if you are interested, we can get married. So that is the level of conversation the second day itself. So our friend was so shocked what to do next. And he was not interested in the marriage. First he said that I'm in foreign service, I can't do it because I move across countries. For that the girl said, no problem, I'll talk to my parents. We can get some good postings like Europe or US. And he doesn't know what to do. He want to cut this thing. So he said that I'm going to resign the job. Next thing she said is, please reconsider. Don't resign the job. And after that also he said that I'm going to resign the job. Or the girl said is, okay, take care. Bye. So that was the message she put on the Facebook, correct? It's all happened in a week, all these messages. And he just came and said, so what is happening there? Okay. Would UPSC address all these things? Please understand, UPSC cannot solve the personal problems of individuals. They will not do it. Okay. Okay, my experience in UPSC, I do it later because timings are very limited. Okay. And I'll just try to do it in the last class. Okay, that'll be the best thing because we need to finish off the class and you're also having prelims very close. So right now we go for the next one. Next thing is challenges of good governance. Next thing is challenges of good governance. So right on the first point, I'll say what are these challenges one after the other. So can anyone say what is corruption means? What corruption stands for? So can anyone say what is corruption means? Huh? Getting bribes is one part of corruption. So what are other things we can relate as corruption is? So can anyone say, online candidates, what is corruption means? Not doing work, gifts, okay. Misusing public authority, that's correct. Not doing his duty, postings, okay. What is corruption written down? Corruption is misuse of public authority. Corruption means misuse of public authority. And this is one of the biggest challenges for good governance. So corruption means misuse of public authority. That is called corruption. So can anyone say what is the biggest impact of corruption? So what is the biggest impact of corruption? Can anyone say a point what is the biggest impact of corruption? Red tapeism is a source, black money. Good example is black money. So black money is the biggest impact of corruption. So why it is called as black money is? So can anyone say why it is called as black money? Goals not reached, that's correct. So can anyone say why it is called as black money? Why the term black money? Why it is called as black money means it's an unaccounted money. Government never knows that there's a money in the economy. Assume that a civil servant corrupts the system. He can't go and put in a bank. He keep it by himself. And government never knows that there's a money in this aspect. Correct? So corruption results in black money. Okay. Just have a hidden money. That's correct. Hidden money. That's the first point. Biggest challenges for good governance. That is misuse of public authority. That's called corruption. Next thing is centralization of power and authority. We take centralization of power and authority. We need to go for the year of 1975. So what is the importance of 1975 to India? So 1975 we call it as internal emergency, correct? We call it as internal emergency. And this is a good example of centralization. Can anyone say which right was violated during the time? Which fundamental right was violated during the time? Huh? Right to speech, that's nothing but Article 19. Article 19 was violated. Please understand, Article 19 is a political right. Can you say how it's a political right? Article 19. How Article 19 is a political right. Right to freedom of speech, correct? Speech and expression. How it's a political right? It seems to be a general right, but it's a political right. Can you say how it's a political right? Freedom of speech and expression results in criticism. You can criticize the government. Freedom of movement means what you can do is, you can go for a protest. Freedom of association means you can form the political parties. So Article 19 is a political right which was highly violated during 1975. That's a good example of centralization, how it's bad for good governance. A next example of this centralization is you can relate with planning commission. So next good example is planning commission. So can anyone say how planning commission is an example for centralization? Right now we don't have planning commission. For that only we have Niti Aayog, correct? What is the biggest reason planning commission failed? So now the reason why it failed is they say it as one size fits all. One size fits all. What does one size fits all means? They created a plan for entire India. And what about India? Is India a homogeneous country or diverse country? India is very diverse country, correct? Planning commission sitting in a Delhi cannot do it. They do it based on centralization of authority. They thought that for entire India they can create a good plan. That's called one size fits all. But reality it never worked. A good example for understanding is what is one size fits all never work is. Take an example of irrigation pattern. North India, for example, state of UP. Which irrigation pattern is good? Which irrigation is very good in UP? Anyone have an idea? So please understand canal irrigation. What is this canal irrigation is? River water. Another most important aspect is you have an alluvial soil. So digging a canal is very easy. But if you go for South India, states like Karnataka, what may be the best irrigation pattern is? You cannot go for canal irrigation. What is the best irrigation pattern is? Dams, and especially you can go for tank irrigation. Because it's a plateau, Deccan plateau. You cannot go for a canal irrigation, you can go for tank irrigation. This is the diversity of India. One size fits all never works. Can you understand the point? That was the reason why planning commission failed, centralization. Next, criminalization of politics, third one. So criminalization of politics. So can anyone say what's the qualification to become a politician in India? What are the qualification to become a politician in India? Leave out the constitutional aspects, very general one. Very practical one. What is the qualification to become a politician in India? First and foremost thing is, charismatic is one. Apart from charismatic, the primary requirement is never ever in your life you need to go to school. Okay, never in your life. Even on rainy days you should not go to school. That's the first one, correct? Second most important thing is how many cases against you, how many FIRs against you, correct? These are the basic qualification. Then only the other thing, correct, like money or charisma and all those things. Take an example, right now in India, for everything we have examinations, correct? For example, if you take a medical exam, if you want to become a doctor, what should be the examination you want to write is? NEET examination, correct? Can we have a similar thing for politicians? Examination for politicians, because they are leading the country, can they do it? Please understand, if you keep such an examination in India, that will be the most fabricated examination. All malpractices happens there, correct? To innovative level they do it. Okay. So criminalization of politics, right now in India, can anyone say what percentage of MPs have criminal background in India? It's all a fact is there. Can anyone have an idea? Not more than 50%. I think around 40 to 43% of MPs have criminal backgrounds right now in India. 40 to 43% of MPs, I'm saying, have a criminal background. This is for national level. State level, what happens? Politician with criminal background. Which state are the worst in it? Bihar is one. Apart from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. Please understand, state level criminalization of politics, all states are worst. Don't think that one state is bad, another state is good. All 28 states in India is worst in criminalization of politics. The difference is what type of crimes. When you go for UP, Bihar, what type of crimes dominate among politicians? All are hardcore crimes or heinous crimes. For example, it can be murder, dacoity, rape, correct? These are the crimes. What about South India? So South India, what type of crime they are doing? They are not doing heinous crimes. What they are doing in South India crime and all. For example, it all white collar crimes. What is white collar crimes means? Corruption charges, correct? Take example of Kerala. Recently, what was the issue happening in Kerala? Gold smuggling case, correct? So criminals are everywhere in India. Don't assume that UP, Bihar is worst. All over India, it's worst. Okay. Next thing is criminalization of politics. MPs with 40 to 43%. The next thing is violation of human rights. Violation of human rights. For this, we can relate with AFSPA. Armed Force Special Power Act. Violation of human rights. Armed Force Special Power Act. So to understand this, can anyone say if you are being arrested in your state, what the procedure need to be followed? Inform the family members. Okay. Private lawyer. There are certain procedures police need to follow. Can anyone say what are those procedures are? 24 hours they need to produce in front of magistrate. There are three things police need to do. One is they need to inform the reason for arrest. They need to say on what grounds you are being arrested. Second is they need to provide you a lawyer. Third one is within 24 hours they need to produce in front of the magistrate. This is a normal procedure. Armed Force Special Power Act. Right now assume that you are an assistant commandant in CRPF working in Jammu and Kashmir. You are going by a road. In front of you, two persons are standing, local persons. And you assume that they may be a terrorist. What you can do? Please understand, you can skip all these things. You can arrest them and put in jail. That's called Armed Force Special Power Act. That's the biggest human rights violation. And in human rights violation, whose rights are being highly violated? Any idea? Not only civilians, especially we can see that women rights are being highly violated. Women rights, correct? So that's Armed Force Special Power Act is a good example of violation of human rights. That's correct. Women, that's correct. And can you say in which state we have this AFSPA issues? Which are the states we have this AFSPA being implementation? Not in Tamil Nadu, not in any states. There are few states we have this AFSPA. What are those states? One is northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir. We have this AFSPA. Okay. The next thing is fifth one. Right on the fifth point, I'll explain it. Fifth point, weak legislature with criminal record, poor knowledge about development issues and low level of education. So my question is our MPs and MLAs knowledgeable about our society? Is that they know what is happening around them? Is they a knowledgeable one? Most of them are not aware of anything, correct? Okay, to understand this, we have few examples. Take Tamil Nadu, correct? So in Tamil Nadu, who is the good example for that, correct? Sellur Raju, correct? The most innovator in Tamil Nadu, correct? Scientist, minister. To stop evaporation, what he did is thermocol, correct? And within 5 seconds, everything is thrown out. And another most important thing is, if you see that picture, who is the other one standing besides him? Collector. Collector is an IAS, correct? So, in future, you may also do the same thing, correct? So, you know that it will not work. But what happened is, as a minister says, okay, sir, we'll float it, you float it. I'll give all the things to you, correct? Okay. Not only in Tamil Nadu, we have this problem. So in Karnataka, seventh failed was education minister, sir. That's great. Okay. So thermocol project. Okay, another point is this happened in Bihar once. You know this famous politicians in Bihar. One is Nitish Kumar. Who's the other one? Who's the other famous politician in Bihar? Akhilesh Yadav belongs to UP, correct? You know this Lalu Prasad Yadav? He is the most important personality in Bihar. Once he made his two sons as a minister. One as a deputy chief minister, another as a health minister. And this was a question asked to the health minister. So right now we have pollution problem, what we can do? For that he said, yes, what you're saying is correct. One of the major reasons is because of automobiles we have pollutions. What I suggest to the government is, hereafter for government servants, we should not give cars, we should give, not cycles, we should give horses. So assume that you are a district collector coming in a horse, correct? And so what happened is, and you are tying the horse in your district collector's office. Every 2 hours you go and check whether it's being fed or not, correct? So you need to take care of the horse. That's the level of knowledge, correct? And another great example, recently it happened. You know this Uttarakhand chief minister recently got into controversies. What are those controversies? One is he said about this torn jeans, correct? How women need to be in a family. And the worst thing is he said for 200 years Americans ruled India. And then only he able to remember that it's not Americans, it's Britishers, correct? So like this, you know that most of our MPs and MLAs are not knowledgeable persons, correct? With that, we are making laws. So according to you, who are the most knowledgeable MPs? There's a majority, but there are few exceptions, correct? Who are the most knowledgeable persons as an MPs or a Shashi Tharoor is one, apart from Shashi Tharoor? Chidambaram is one, okay. Then any politicians with knowledge, correct? Okay, Smriti Irani, Kapil Sibal, that's correct, Kapil Sibal, Manmohan Singh, correct? Subramanya Swamy, Jay Shankar. And please understand, ultimately, if you take 540 MPs in Lok Sabha, it literally will be 20 to 25, correct? That will be the level of MPs, correct? Even we can't say Prime Minister Modi, correct? So during this Balkot attack, he gave some point. Okay. Huh? It's recorded, that's correct. Exam demands it, correct? So you know that he said that radar gets reflected from clouds and also that that was a rainy time. He said that why I asked them to attack Pakistan is we have so many clouds. So radar gets reflected so that they can't find us. That was a statement given by a prime minister. Okay. Sometimes that also happens. Okay. If you speak too much, we also becomes anti-Indian. That's a problem, correct? So Arvind Kejriwal is one. That's correct. Okay. So this is regarding the fifth point. Okay, weak legislature, criminal records, and poor knowledge about development issues and low level of education. Next thing is poor people's participation. When you say poor people's participation, there are two areas we can take it. One is election and tax payments. One is elections and tax payments. The major one. So when you say elections, can anyone say what percentage of Indians are taking part in election process? Huh? On an average, it will be around 60 to 70. Please understand, it's all India average. Rural India, urban India. Which is worst in that election process? Rural India, urban India. Please understand, urban India is always worst. What will be the percentage of voting in urban India? It will be around 40 to 45%. That's the level of voting. Can I understand the point? What in India they always says is, when your education level increases, so what you do is, you never vote in elections, correct? So can you say in which country voting is mandatory? Any idea? In which country voting is mandatory? In which country voting is mandatory? In India it's not mandatory, it's a wish of you. Whether you want to vote it, you can vote it or else you can skip it, correct? Can you say in which country voting is mandatory? All will be fined, benefits will be taken out. Can you say in which country? Any intelligent guess? Please understand, it's mandatory in Australia. Australia, it's mandatory, taking part in elections. Okay. One is election process. Next thing is tax. To understand these taxes, can anyone say what percentage of Indians are paying direct taxes? For example, income tax. What percentage of Indians are paying income tax? Any approximate numbers? 30%. Then? Any idea? What percentage of Indians are paying direct taxes? 40%. Please understand, 30-40% means India will be a developed country. We have so much of money with the government, correct? So what they say is in tax, it's around 2 to 3%. So that's the level of Indians paying taxes as a direct tax, okay, income tax, correct? So our reason is, one of the major reasons is we know that Indian economy is dominated by which economy? Formal economy or informal economy? Informal economy, correct? So the percentage of direct tax is very less. Please go and check this. Tax to GDP ratio. In our neighborhood and across the world, India is the lowest one. Simple thing, Indian government doesn't have the money. But we are expecting a lot from Indian government, correct? We want to have proper road, rail network, everything, but they don't have the money, correct? Tax to GDP ratio is the worst in the entire world, correct? We are the very lowest one. Okay. The next thing is, even understanding of participation. Take example of Corona. Is there we are participating in Corona guidelines and all? Literally no, correct? So what are the things we need to do in Corona time is, correct? One is wear a mask, maintain a social distance, hand washing, correct? And what we always do is, we never follow any of the things. And another most important things they want to ask you, wear a mask. Here comes the innovations of Indians, correct? How they wear the mask is? Correct? So one is they put it on their neck and that be hanging like a gold chain, correct? Or what other thing they do is, they put it on the mouth and keep their nose open. Okay, kerchief is one. What the purpose of wearing a mask is? Okay, that like that. What the purpose of wearing a mask is? Why you want to close your mouth and nose? The primary aspect is the virus enters our body through mouth and nose, correct? But we can see that our Indians never follow all those things, correct? And Indians you can see everywhere. Not only this, take example of traffic rules. Is that you are following traffic rules? Literally no, correct? Right from wearing a helmet. Apart from wearing a helmet, following a traffic laws, signal, correct? Simply I was saying this is only an Indian can drive in Indian roads. Is that you know what? Because an Indian can understand another Indian. Okay. And you can know that by seeing his head, we know that what he is going to do, correct? He is going to turn right or turn left, correct? Okay. Hand signals. Sometimes even hand signals will not be there. He just give an indication that I'm going to turn like this, correct? And turn like this. And another point is to say that, you know this Formula 1. Who's the fastest driver in Formula 1? Okay, who's the fastest driver in Formula 1? Right now, who's the champion? I'm saying Formula 1, correct? You know this Lewis Hamilton? There's an England driver is there, Formula 1. Once he came to India, I think 5 or 10 years before there was a race course in India. He came here. And after that, that was in Delhi, I think so. After that, he wanted to drive in Indian roads. Within 1 minute, he stopped the car and said that I can't drive in India. Please ask someone to drive. The reason is, please understand, he is the fastest driver in the world. He says that I can't drive in India. What is the reason he said? Any logical findings? Not only traffic. Apart from traffic, what are other things? Please understand, not only speed breakers. Please understand, he said that. Cooling glass. Point is, what he said is, in India, I don't know from which direction vehicles comes. Correct? To say that in India, I can see that people coming in all directions. Okay, for example, no entry, we can see that coming very fast in no entry. Similarly, not only Indian roads are used by humans. Who are the other one present in the roads is? Cows, dogs, correct? He literally got irritated. He said that I can't drive here. So that's the level of India, correct? So Indian roads and other things. So poor people's participation. One very factual one is election and tax payments. You can note it down. Next thing is less active civil society. Less active civil society means, put that in perspective of India. In India, we don't have any major civil society. All are foreign players. A good example is you can take Greenpeace or Amnesty International. All are foreign players, correct? Which is a bad word in Tamil Nadu regarding an NGO in Tamil Nadu. Anyone able to remember it, correct? So tax to GDP ratio is 9%, correct? So what a NGO in Tamil Nadu is with a very bad name. You know this Jallikattu protest? PETA, correct? All are foreign players. So less active civil society, especially Indian civil society. Keep that in mind. Okay. We'll see that on an NGO. What are problems of NGOs? There will be next topic called NGOs. We'll see that. Next one is eighth one. Around the 8th point, I'll explain it. So poorly empowered grassroots democratic institutions. So poorly empowered grassroots democratic institutions. That's nothing but 73rd and 74th Amendment. Though we created this, can you say what are problems in this panchayat and municipalities? Why it's not very effective? Though we created it, why it's not very effective? First and foremost thing is lack of funds. So lack of funds is the biggest problem. Now, apart from this, for example, proxy democracy. So what is this proxy democracy means? Can you say what is proxy in your college days? Yes. Especially in attendance, you can see that on your behalf, someone will be giving an attendance. That's called proxy, correct? How this applies for democracy is, though in 73rd and 74th, they say that there's a reservation for SC, ST and women. But reality, who will be the person dominating this panchayat and municipalities? For example, if we take women reservation, mostly who will be the person dominating is? Either it can be a husband, brother, father, correct? They'll be dominating. That's called proxy democracy. Sometimes it's not only in panchayat, even we can see that in state level also, correct? Which state is a good example for it? Tamil Nadu is a classic example for proxy democracy. Once Jayalalitha was taken out as a chief minister, who was the next one to made as a chief minister? Any idea? O. Pannirselvam was made as a chief minister. And he said that he never sat in the chief minister's office. And he never signed any file as a chief minister. That time what he does is, he take the file, go and see Jayalalitha in Poet's Garden, show the file. She says, okay, sign this file. He will sign and pass the order. And even a good example is Bihar. You know, Lalu Prasad Yadav, we say in the last few minutes before, correct? He made his wife as a chief minister, Rabri Devi. Okay. Before becoming chief minister, what she was doing is, in her home, she was maintaining dairy accounts. Dairy accounts means 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liter, 4 liter. That's the thing she knows. Next day, she was made as a chief minister. So that because he was taken out as a chief minister and he wanted to put some loyal person, he found the family member itself, and she was made as chief minister. And they said that for first 1 week she was crying in the office. Why she was crying is, officers coming and giving the file and getting the signature. She thought that some of her properties were taken out because they're getting signature every time. Then only she knows that as a chief minister you want to sign a lot of files, correct? So proxy democracy, lack of funds is the biggest problem. Right, the next one is 9th one. Poor coordination. Poor coordination among political. So poor coordination among political, administrative and community level organizations. A better way of understanding this is during this corona pandemic. What a promise made by the government for us? Or the vaccine is one. Once the corona pandemic sets in, by the month of March, April, May, June, most of the people lost their job and all those things. What a promise made by the government for us? What the finance minister said to us? I'm saying from individual level. As a common man, what are the benefit Prime Minister said to us? Okay. The basic aspect is, government said that you doesn't need to pay the EMI. EMI doesn't need to pay for 6 months, correct? But in reality, what happened in banks is, so they collected it. They said that, though finance minister said, we are not receiving any orders. And they said that even if you are not paying 6 months of EMI, this will be calculated, interest will be put again. Interest on interest, correct? So all this was happening in India. This clearly shows that poor coordination among political, administrative and community level organizations. Politicians say something, reality will be very different when you go for banks or any institutions. Okay. Next thing is delay in delivery of judicial decisions. So can anyone say what is the time taken to finish off a case in India? Once you file a case, what is the time taken on an average? So on an average, what is the time taken to finish off a case in India? 7 to 8 years. Any other numbers? Approximate? 10, okay. 10 years, 6 years. And please understand, in India, it takes around 12 to 15 years. Or another way of understanding this is, if you are a lawyer, find 4 to 5 good clients. Everyone will be with you for 15 years, correct? You can finish off your career, correct? For example, 15 years, 3 cases, correct? You can easily identify 45 years will be gone. Three good clients, that's enough. Okay. So delay in delivery of judicial decisions. You can write this point also. Delayed decisions. So delayed decisions can be equated as denied decisions. And please understand what is the example I am giving. For example, find 3 clients to finish off a career. Just for fun part I am saying. You can't write it anywhere in UPSC. Don't do it. Okay. Longest case I am not aware, but an average it takes 15 years. Sometimes there are cases, take example of Tamil Nadu, correct? So, it goes beyond it, correct? 20 years is over, correct? It depends upon the court, what happens there. But on average, it takes 12 to 15 years. Okay. Last one, poor participation of disadvantage in decision making, Sachar committee. Shall I read the last point? So, poor participation of disadvantage in decision making process. Last one, 11th point. That's correct. Recently, rape convict for jailed and found and released after 20 years, correct? This happens in India. Okay. It said that 2/3 of the people in the jail are considered to be under trials. What is under trials means? Still trial is going on. Judgment is not given. So take example, 20 years a person spent in jail, then they found out he was not the person. Okay, 20 years life is gone, correct? So this is all because of a delay in judiciary, correct? This happens in India a lot. Why the more crimes increases because of it?
After coming out, he has nothing to do.
So that's also there. The another point is
End up in doing robbery and
jail. One of the biggest problem in jails in India is it's not reformative. What does reformative means? They are not changing the person. Ultimately, what they say is once you go for Indian jail, your crime increases a lot because you got new friends. They teach you a lot of new techniques. Correct? That's a reality. Once you go for small theft, okay, they'll share the knowledge how to go for bigger level. This is what happens in India. It's not reformative. That's a problem in India. Okay. So next thing is poor participation of disadvantage in decision making process. Sachar committee. Sachar committee was related to status of Islamic faith people. Status of Islamic faith people. Sachar committee. What is status of Islamic faith people means? My basic question. So can anyone say why Islamic faith people never work in bank? Why they never work in bank? They never work in bank. They never go for bank. Can you say why they never do it? Okay, as per religion in Islam, giving interest or taking interest is considered to be a sin. So they never go for banks and work in banks. And there's a concept called Islamic banking. There's a concept called Islamic banking right now tried in Kerala. Okay. So these are the things regarding good governance. Okay. They are against the religion, correct? So what they do in Islamic countries, please understand Islamic countries, they never say it as interest, but they give it with a different name, correct? So in India, Islam is very minority, correct? I think 14% population is there scattered across India. So Indian government is not interested in that. But Islamic countries, they have a bank, but they never say it as an interest. They give it with a different name. Okay. So just quickly go through what is governance and good governance right from the first. Huh? Okay, governance note you don't have it, correct? Okay. Yes. அப்படியா? Okay. So governance definition, okay, I just came out once again. I'll just say the governance definition in once, correct? Just give your note, someone. Go Google, yeah, okay. So governance definition, I'll say it in the next class. Slides piece, okay. So governance definition already we saw in the first class itself, correct? Okay. I'll say it in the next class. Okay, just type this definition. Someone put. I'll say the definition: tradition and institution by which the authority in a country is exercised. Sorry. Okay, I'll just say the definition: the tradition and institution by which the authority in the country is exercised. Thank you for sharing the definition. Kaufman. 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 Tradition and institution by which the authority in the country is exercised. Features and attributes. Okay, features are nothing but the basic characters. Attributes are nothing but their models. Okay, thank you. The way the power is exercised through countries' political, economic, social institutions. That's another definition. That the way the power is exercised through countries' economic, political, and social institutions. Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing the definition. So right now we go for the next topic. So next topic is e-governance. So next topic is e-governance. E-governance also includes m-governance. Keep that in mind. Includes m-governance. So can you give examples of e-governance and m-governance in India? Few examples. M-governance is mobile governance. Okay, e-governance is electronic governance. M-governance is mobile governance. So can you give examples of few e-governance and m-governance initiatives in India? There are some names for it, correct? For example, I given BIM app, which I already wrote it, correct? BIM app is one. Apart from this, M-Parivar, correct? So IRCTC, Arogya Setu is there, correct? Right now for COVID vaccine, what the app we have is? Anyone have an idea? What the app we have for vaccination of corona? So DigiLocker, eNAP, CoWIN, correct? That's correct. CoWIN, DigiLocker. These are few examples. Please understand this is not an exhaustive list. I'm just giving an example. That's it. Umang, correct? So what is the unique character of this CoWIN app is? Any idea? What is the unique character of CoWIN app or Arogya Setu app? What is the unique character? Corona is that there's one technology behind it. For example, if you take Arogya Setu app, right now you download it, they give the information in your locality who are the people with corona positive and all. What is the technology behind this? This can also be prelims question in science and technology. Not GIS, there's a term called geofencing. Please go and check this term, what does geofencing means. That's a part of this Arogya Setu app, geofencing. So that examples, okay. That is, these are few examples in M-governance or mobile governance.
This is the technology which fishermen in Rameshwaram for
Okay.
not crossing borders.
So not crossing the borders.
Is this the technology they use or?
I'm not aware of it, what they give in Rameshwaram for fishermen. Is that they given technology for fishermen in Rameshwaram? That's a demand.
Initiative, like providing devices for them so that they can identify the border and
Okay.
in the border. Communication by satellite only.
They give based on communication, satellite. Okay. We'll check it. Geofencing is nothing but Arogya Setu uses all those things. Someone has put geofencing, what is that aspect is. Please check it. What is geofencing is. So CoWIN app is nothing but I said that there's a technology called geofencing, and based on that, within that radius area, they'll identify who are the positives and where their movement are, all those things. Okay, just go and check what geofencing is. So that can be a prelims question. So what is e-governance? Write down what is e-governance is. Use of e-governance means definition. That is, write down. Use of information. Use of information and communication technology. We call it as ICT. Use of information and communication technology to provide use of information and communication technology to provide public services, with the values of public services, with the values of efficiency, transparency, and responsiveness. With the values of efficiency, transparency, and responsiveness. And next, e-governance and internal environment. E-governance and internal environment. So can anyone say what is internal environment means? Right now if you are a district collector, what is internal environment for you if you are a district collector? Your district is one, apart from district. For example, in district collector's office, what is internal environment for you? Room, not room, correct? Apart from room, correct? What is the e-governance? I'll repeat once. Okay. Use of ICT, information and communication technology, to provide public services with the values of efficiency, transparency, and responsiveness. So what is this e-governance and internal environment means? For example, if you are a district collector, with whom you interact a lot in office level? One is peon. Apart from peon, with whom you interact a lot in office level is sub-collectors, tahsildar. Who's the highest authority for you? Secretary, chief secretary, correct? This is all internal environment. My question is, if everything is based on electronic governance, what is the advantage here? Right now, all of paper format. What advantage if you are doing in electronic format? Right, the first point is faster communication process. First one is faster communication process. Okay, that's correct. So faster communication process, what advantage in the next point is quick decision making. You are able to make quick decision making. Third one, to monitor the performance of subordinates. Monitor the performance of subordinates. My question is, do you believe that once you go into civil services, your subordinate will work for your orders? Do you think like that? Assume that you are an IPS officer. What is the first posting as an IPS officer? ASP. What will be your age? What will be your age as ASP? Average age. 28 or 29, correct? Average age. Who is the direct subordinate for you? Not ESCON. Direct subordinate for you. DSP, correct? What will be the age of DSP? 40, 45. Someone started the career as SI and moved to the position of DSP, correct? 50, 55. Authority wise, you are the superior by age of 28. But DSP with the age of 55, literally he got the service of your age, correct? What you should not do there? So what you should not do there is, so what you should not do there is, until you learn what is policing, you should not show the authority to the DSP. So what DSP will do is, what DSP will do is, he will show his experience. Showing experience means what he does, he wait for the right time, correct? And he put in the right spot to understand who is the real authority. Okay, if you are in such energies thinking that entire district depends on me, I want to take care of everything, and you began to give orders to the DSP without considering them. Literally you say that you are bullying him, correct? Saying that I am the ASP, correct? I am the senior, you do what I say. Literally he says, okay sir, I will do it. After a point, what he does is, if there is any problem, sir, please come and solve it. I doesn't know what to do. Please come, sir. Once you go there, you stand in the middle. Ultimately, he wait for the right time. And please understand, for people, if they think about rank, for a common man, DSP, SP, ASP, he's that he knows? Literally no, correct? For a common man, wearing a uniform is policeman, correct? And please understand, common man will be highly emotionally charged. And understand the point. If the emotion breaks up, what happens is, he will use his hands and legs, correct? And who will be the first person standing there is? ASP as yourself, correct? And DSP will be 10 feet behind you. Sir, he'll run. And you get all that thrashing, correct? Then only you understand that we need to give importance for DSP or experience, correct? So what's the point is, don't assume that once you go into the civil services, as an authority, your subordinate works for you. And please understand, I am saying from your home state perspective. When you go for other state, what are the biggest challenge for you? Languages are the biggest problem, correct? Assume that you are in Punjab. Okay. And you have a DSP speaking Punjabi, correct? Literally, he makes fun out of initial times. But he will not laugh, he will say all the local words you can't understand, correct? So it's all reality. So if you go for e-governance, what are the advantages? You can monitor the performance. Okay, the next one is to provide guidelines, for program implementations. Next thing, e-governance and external environment. E-governance and external environment. So external environment means if you are district collector, you are interacting with the people, correct? So what advantage here? External environment as a district collector, interacting with the people, common. So transparency. First point is to create accountability, and transparency in public services. Next, what is the advantage apart from this? Next thing is anywhere, anytime public services. That's 24/7. Anywhere, anytime public service, 24/7. And next, elimination of corruption. In public services. To understand what is the elimination of corruption is, right now if you want to book a train ticket, what are the source we go for to book a train ticket is IRCTC, correct? If you ask your parents, in their times if they want to book a train ticket, what they want to do is, they want to go for a railway stations, correct? They want to stand in a queue. If you want to jump the queue, what do you want to do is, find an agent or find a middleman, give the money, correct? By a click of mouse, everything is eliminated. Next one is innovative public services. So a good example is DigiLocker. Innovative public services. Good example is DigiLocker. So what does this DigiLocker means? All your government documents can be converted into electronic format. What is the advantage in this? If you convert everything in electronic format, what is the advantage? Hard copy and electronic format. What is the advantage in electronic format? So one is you can take it wherever you want. Then apart from this, damage, loss of document is not a problem for you, correct? To understand this, can anyone say what a procedure if you lost your 10th and 12th certificates or college certificates? First and foremost thing, you have to file an FIR. What is the cost of that FIR?
Right now it is made online.
Based on online, correct? Sometimes it depends upon the stations, correct? Initial times and all, 5 years, 10 years before and all. If you go and say that I lost the document, depends on the days. Not only depends upon the days. And if you go and say to them, sir, I need the document, I want to go for US, I'm going to study there. Ultimately what happens, sometimes what police think is, okay, a student, his life is attached, they'll do it very fast. Sometimes police take as an advantage. So what is the next thing they do is, okay, no problem, I'll file an FIR, but give me some money for it. And what the reason they always say is this, anyway, you're going to be US, you're going to earn in dollars, correct? And your life is attached to the FIR. So ultimately what happens, you need to pay the money. So innovative public service. Next one is real time. Next thing is real time informations. Real time informations regarding public services. Real time informations regarding public services. So what this real time information is, right now if we take IRCTC again, with a click of a mouse, you can get the real-time data, correct? But if there is no such initiative, what happened is, you doesn't know what is happening in booking train tickets, correct? Right now you can skip from one train to other train, what is the seat available in one train, other train, all you can make a decision based on real-time informations. Okay, these are the benefits, okay? Today with this, any clarification, just go through it. So any clarification, online candidates, just go through it. Any doubts, please? Second point is anytime, anywhere public services, correct? That's the second point. Anytime, anywhere public services. So quick decision making, sorry, it's quick decision making. I'll just show the slides, okay. Misuse of public resource also, you can use it for corruption, correct? So last 2 points, innovative public services. Innovative public services. Next thing is to provide guidelines. So innovative public, what is the last point in that? Real-time informations regarding public services. Real-time informations regarding public services. Why we need to file an FIR when we lost the mark sheets? Okay. That only gives the proof that you lost it. So that's the reason. So first point, internal environment. First point is faster communication. What is faster communication is nothing but you are getting the quick data as an authority so that you can make decisions. So less active civil society, as I said, Indian civil society. Less active Indian civil society is a challengeable one. Insurgency and Maoism, what are the differences? Insurgency focusing on creating a new country. Maoism want to change the political system. They want to move from democracy to communism. What does e-governance means? Use of ICT to provide public services with the values of efficiency, transparency, and responsiveness. Offline candidates, you can leave. Okay, you can leave. Thank you. So, any clarification online candidates? Not internal, was external environment. Internal environment is your sub-collector, chief secretary, all comes. How many classes for governance? Probably another 6 classes. Effectiveness means ability to reach the goals. That's called effectiveness. Measures taken to control corruption, we see that later classes. There's a topic on corruption, we'll see it. So anyone want to see the definitions and all? Internal environment, last point, real-time informations regarding public services. So we can see that how to control corruption, laws need to be effective, institution needs to be effective, we'll see that. That's a topic on corruption, we'll see it. So any other clarifications? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So can we wind up the session? If you put yes, that'll be well and good. I think there is some connectivity issue for me. Huh? வந்துருச்சு Okay. Okay, thank you. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you. I'll just check it. GS and optional classes, I'll just check it. Bad options. External environment, last point is real-time informations regarding public services. Okay then, thank you. Meet in the next class.